All right. Good afternoon, everybody. It is June 10th and the time is 1 o'clock. I will call the meeting to order. This is the Complaint Review Committee for the Arizona State Board of Pharmacy. Dr. Gandhi, if you could do roll call and conflicts of interest.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Romsley,
Present and mine have been submitted.
Ms. Park,
Present and mine have been submitted.
Mr. Thorwald,
Sorry, I'm here and no conflict.
okay, and Mr. Al-Nassif.
Here with no conflict.
All accounted for, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Gandhi. Since we don't have our normal committee on today and I'm recused from the first item, who are we going to have to do the ones that I'm recused from?
I
From a
can take
facilitation standpoint.
I can take them.
All right, Tariq, the show's yours.
All right, 4A. Go ahead, Tariq.
All right. So we start with our first case is number 250114 4A. Type of complaint. The complainant is a pet owner alleged that the pharmacy dispensed the wrong medication for her pet. Any discussion about this or thoughts? So prescription was written for codeine, 30 milligram, and the pharmacy technician entered this medication with the Tylenol. So it was a wrong entry and was dispensed. And then the owner reached out, realized the error, and after she picked up and filled and returned it back to the pharmacy following day. Any thoughts on this?
Have they, that, I don't see anything that shows that had other issues prior to this. Have I missed that anywhere?
Yeah, to me, it's a typical error like what we've had before. Like there is a human error made by a technician and a pharmacist. So I'm okay with going with our standard as non-disciplinary 3 hours of CE in error prevention and dismiss the permit holder.
I was thinking the same thing.
I agree with that.
All right. So anyone like to make a motion on this?
I move that we, he was required, the pharmacists, they're required to take 3 hours of non-disciplinary CE in error prevention.
Thank you. That's for both, for technician and a pharmacist, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Can you add dismiss the permit holder to?
And I would dismiss the holder. Permit
Thank you.
holder.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you, Tariq. Item 4B, complaint number 25-0074. The pharmacy refilled a previous medication after the patient received an updated prescription for a new strength of the medication. Open it up for discussion or suggestions.
Jenna, it seems like it's error prevention to me.
Frank, we're having a hard time hearing you, buddy.
Sorry, I'm having trouble with my mic today. Is that any better?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It seems like it's error prevention again.
I could support that.
I agree.
I move that 3 hours of CE in error prevention.
And it is non-disciplinary, right?
To the
Non-disciplinary.
to the pharmacist,
Yes.
because there was no tech involved.
Yes,
And permit holder,
Dismiss the permit holder? We add it to the same motion or?
and dismiss the permit holder.
do I have a second?
A second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 4C, complaint number 25-0004. A medication was improperly reconstituted and dispensed. Open it up for discussion.
Here I kept thinking about it because the technician who makes the medication made the error. And our law is clear about pharmacist has to check, right? I believe so. So technician did not call the pharmacist to double check.
The other thing I noted is that it was clearly in violation of the company's policy. So this one I feel might have been a little bit of risky behavior by the technician in this particular case.
Correct.
And this was a refill, was it not? On this as well,
I believe it was a refill too.
like no counsel.
Look at my notes.
It was a refill.
I don't think the pharmacist, like, I can see how the pharmacist wouldn't have known that this would have happened. So I would be
Correct.
in favor of dismissing the pharmacist and the permit holder since they have a policy against it, and then figure out what we want to do with the tech.
Agree.
I agree with this. And about the tech, I was thinking about it is 3 hours on error prevention or in law, because there is a law around this.
I could go either way. Because I mean, if it was mixed improperly, you know what I mean, there could be harm to the patient. Or if it but you know, did they do the act because they weren't aware of the policy and they weren't aware of the law? So I could go either way.
Is it out of guideline to, or what's been done to offer non-disciplinary 3 hours of each?
Yeah,
Or
we
some
can do that.
combination?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we could do that.
So I will make my motion. I'm ready unless. Okay, so I move to dismiss the pharmacist and the permit holder. And I move to non-disciplinary 3 hours in law and 3 hours in error prevention for the technician, in addition to the requirement to renew their license.
Second. Can you hear me any better?
Yes,
Oh.
yes, we can, Frank.
Any discussion?
Just
All
is
those
that,
in-
so is that 6 hours total, Tarek?
6 hours total.
Yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. I am recused from item 4D.
I am also recused.
Okay, so we won't have a quorum, so we'll do full board review for this one and skip it. Moving on to 4E, a complainant alleged multiple unprofessional behavior issues with the pharmacy. Open it up for discussion.
I'm just trying to look at my notes here.
I didn't see that the claims were substantiated here, based on the narrative.
Yeah, when they talk about drug interaction, I didn't see it under like the interaction between those two meds.
Board members, if I could interject, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
If you jump down to the very last paragraph in the complaint summary, this is the only error that could be substantiated was the incorrect number of refills on a levothyroxine prescription for the patient.
It is the same prescription, Castaneda, that the provider prescribed himself, right?
Could you please repeat that? I didn't quite get all
I
that.
believe that this is for the medication that prescriber prescribed himself, correct? The levothyroxine, as I remember.
Let's jump to the page where I don't believe it was prescribed by the doctor himself. I think if we jump to page 205. It was the provider was the patient is a provider, but it was a different provider that sent in the medication.
So yeah, I mean, the only error is like a wrong refill number.
But that
That's
was
the only error.
but that was
that I can-
ultimately corrected too, right?
Yes, correct. That is correct.
I'm kind of the opinion that we should dismiss this one. Is where my head is right now.
We have done like sort of action on similar cases, like with wrong quantity and wrong refills, but I believe like a letter of concern will, for pharmacists would be okay.
Okay, I would be all right
I
with that
could,
too.
yeah, I could go either. Yep.
Could you specify the factual basis for that?
For entering a wrong refill number,
Okay,
it's been
So your,
correct. Yeah.
so your motion is a letter of concern for issuing a prescription with the incorrect number of refills. Do I have a second? No second?
No, I
Okay.
second.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 4F, I'm recused from, so Tariq, go ahead.
If I may go back to 4E, what is the recommendation for the permit? Is it also an
Oh,
advisory
dismiss.
letter?
Dismiss the payment order. Thank you. That will be added to my motion.
I'm aligned. Everybody good with that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Tariq, with 4F.
Okay, item 4F 25-0158. Complainant or patient alleged that pharmacist filled the incorrect dose of his prescription and refused to correct it. So it is about one of the GLP-1 medications. Doctor sent multiple prescription with discontinue notes for each dose to start a new dose. Right? But the last
And-
prescription saying did not discontinue, so the pharmacy keep filling it, and they put the newer dose on hold or the higher dose. So patient came back to pharmacy and did not return it back. Didn't allow patient to return it back.
And this
I
was
need
one
some-
where, it was also, I guess, if I remember, complicated because wasn't the 7.5 put on like auto refill
Correct. Correct,
and then it created a refill too soon type situation when they tried to fill the
correct.
10.
10 milligram, correct.
Hello, board members. This is Ram Kalapudi, compliance officer. Can I add?
Yeah, please do.
So when 10 milligram strength was sent, it was too soon because it was not due. So that was the reason they put the 10 milligram on hold. And the prescription is on hold. It doesn't trigger a DUR alert for the 7.5 when they were trying to refill it. And yes, it is a problem with the auto refill, but the prescriber, according to the pharmacist, prescriber, when he sends a new prescription with refills, he cancels the existing refills on the old prescription. So the pharmacist said that in this situation, as you mentioned, Tariq, the prescriber did not cancel the refills on 7.5, and that contributed to the situation somewhat. And pharmacists tried to talk to the insurance for a override, but the insurance declined it. And then they reached out to the prescriber. Prescriber informed the pharmacist and the patient to continue the 7.5. And then when it is over, start the 10 milligram.
Was there a reason why they tried to refill it early?
It's not refilling early. They sent the 10 milligram prescription a little bit earlier than a due date for it because of the 7.5 is still under usage. So the insurance rejected it, so they should have scheduled it for future, but they put it on hold.
Well, that's what why I was asking that question. If they got it early and it still wasn't time for them to get their
Yeah.
new prescription, why didn't they just wait? That was where I was going with that.
Yeah, that's correct. They should have scheduled it for future fill, but they put it on hold. That was the issue. And also the prescriber did not cancel the refills on the 7.5, so that's also another issue.
So Ram, just,
Yeah, I mean,
I can't remember, did the doctor send the 10 milligram after the 7.5 was?
No, 7.5 is still in use, so it was too soon to fill the 10 milligram. So 10 milligram was sent a few days before it is due for fill.
so not at the same time, but separate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, kind of where I feel I'm at with this one is, I as dismiss is where I am.
I was thinking the same thing, but at the same time, in my mind, the pharmacist should have waited till the till the due date to get the different one. It's obvious that they wanted it increased, so why would you go ahead and send the lower amount?
So the pharmacist could have, like, when they receive the higher dose, to discontinue the old dose and take it off of the autofill, right? But I can see that happens, easy to bypass a pharmacist.
I can too.
Yeah. I mean, like, my head is spinning between, like, dismissing or letter of concern to a pharmacist, just to.
I would say a letter of concern, and that's it.
Okay. Are you willing to do it, to make it your motion, Mr. Dhruv?
I move that we do a letter of concern to the pharmacist
And dismiss permit holder?
and dismiss the permit holder.
Second, any? Mrs. Park, you want to second this?
Yeah, I can second it.
All right. Any more discussion? Oppose? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, item 4G, complaint number 25-0079. The complainant prescriber alleged that the pharmacy made the same prescription processing error twice, 2 months apart.
Hello, board members. Again, this is Ram Kalupudi. Can I give you a quick recap because it's in 2 sections?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, initially it was thought that the pharmacist did not provide the consult based on how the technician responded and also how the computer screens looked like. The consultation status showed expired, but the pharmacist sent a rebuttal last like approximately 10 days ago. And then I had to do subsequent research and reinvestigation to find some facts to counter the rebuttal. So the addendum is just showing that whatever points that he made in his rebuttal are factually, most of them are not correct. They are presented as exhibits, A, B, C, D, like that. So what happened was in November, there was a prescription for Fioricet containing Tylenol or acetaminophen was sent in. The patient has been taking the generic Fioricet for a long time. So in November, when this pharmacist was working, the prescription was processed as Fiorinol, with aspirin. And also the directions said take half to 1 capsule. He missed that one, and he didn't catch acetaminophen versus aspirin difference while checking the data entry, and he went ahead and filled the prescription, verified the filled product, and released the prescription. And he thought it was done by cloud support by another pharmacist because he was responding maybe 2-3 months after the situation happened. Maybe his memory was cloudy, and then he said he thought it was verified by some other pharmacist, but the facts are he verified the prescription in November. Also in February, he was the same person who did the same mistake in not capturing it while doing the data entry verification. But the patient used the prescription in November for a month, and then she reported it to the doctor, saying that this prescription was filled for aspirin. And then doctor contacted the pharmacist in charge, and pharmacist in charge corrected the prescription. And then patient used it for a couple of times. Once the refills ran out, the prescription was sent again for Fioricet generic with the Tylenol, and the pharmacy entered it again for Fiorinol with aspirin. And then the patient got that alert. When you get a prescription filled, if you are signed up, you get a text message alert what prescription is ready. So she found out that they filled it again with aspirin. She contacted the doctor. Doctor contacted the pharmacist. They corrected it, and this time the prescription went through cloud support, and some other pharmacist verified the data entry and also the filled prescription. So the correct prescription was picked up in February after the doctor contacted the pharmacist. And then incidentally, the patient is allergic to aspirin, but it's not a true allergy. And pharmacist did put DUR notes to contact the patient, but it doesn't show that he resolved the DUR. There was no change in the DUR, no amendment was entered into the DUR queue. So it looks like when you look at the video, he went to this pickup station, he entered bunch of override entries, but the video doesn't show that he talked to the patient. It's not clear, it was all grainy if you have seen the video. But the patient is on another medication that interacts with aspirin. So that could be the concern why the doctor did not want the patient to use aspirin containing product. And so that is the recap. Sorry about the lengthy explanation.
No, that was helpful. Thank you. Open it up
Mm.
for discussion.
My concern with this one is it was something that occurred multiple times. And with the aspirin allergy, whether it was an actual one or not, it was on file. And so that, that would have triggered yet another way for intervention on this one. So that's my concern with this one.
He added the notes in the DUR screen, but it is not clear whether he talked to the patient at all. Had he talked to the patient, he would not have given the aspirin containing medication. That's what I think, but I'm not sure what the actual interaction took place. The patient also did not remember, patient or patient's husband. They said that they don't have any recollection of what happened.
But regardless, the allergy is still the error took place, right? Doctor wrote Fioricet and the pharmacist approved Fiorinol, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, but I think where Stephanie was going, and Stephanie, please correct me if I'm wrong, but like because of the allergy, there should have been even a bigger chance that this error would have got caught. I mean,
Correct,
fewer
yeah.
nulls are pretty common error, depending on especially if if the prescriber writes the generic. So I can understand that that might happen because it's a look-alike, sound-alike. But the DUR should have caused the pharmacist to be a little bit more careful because of the allergy. I don't know. I feel like this one is a little bit more than just a normal 3-hour non-disciplinary CE, based on kind of the risky behavior of the pharmacist.
Yep. Agree.
I also agree. What would be appropriate? What have we done in the past in
I
something
was
like this?
thinking 3 hours of disciplinary CE in pharmacy, in error prevention, I'm sorry. Instead of doing non-disciplinary, do disciplinary.
I agree, especially because it happened more than once. If once, I mean,
Yeah, and that's the other reason why I feel like this warrants a little bit more attention than a traditional error.
I agree with that too.
Did we get any sort of response of what's changed in their practice to?
The PIC stated that she trained everybody again and she informed them how to differentiate between Fioricet and Fiorinol, and also enhanced interaction with the patients. That's what she mentioned in her response. And the pharmacist, in his response, he mentioned that he would be careful, consult on all new prescriptions, you know.
May I clarify, the 3 hours of disciplinary CE is for the pharmacist and the techs, or please clarify?
I think the pharmacist in this case and the text should be non-disciplinary
Agree.
and dismiss the permit holder.
I have a small request about the technician who initially was cited, thinking that she did not call she gave out the prescription without pharmacist providing the consult. Upon reviewing the video, it showed that technician RK actually did her job. She called the pharmacist. Pharmacist actually shown in the video entering his credentials. So I want you to find out whether she can be recused or not.
which technician, Ram? It is RK?
Yeah, Rain RK.
So Allison was the,
Yeah, she is the
or-
one.
yeah, the AL was the
Data
entry.
entry.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct.
So I would say the data entry technician, 3 hours of non-disciplinary CE and error prevention, and the one that was the selling technician dismiss.
Thank you.
That's my motion.
Second,
I have a motion. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 4H, complaint number 25-0018. The pharmacy dispensed an incorrect person's medication to the complaint.
Error prevention.
I believe the PIC or pharmacist has no involvement. I'm just trying to read my notes here. Is that right, Mr. Patel? Can you just like elaborate on this case? Why is the PIC listed?
I think because of the supervision factor. So this one, again, to me, the technician displayed risky behavior. They admitted to not following the standard operating procedure. My thought was to dismiss the permit and the pharmacist and take some sort of action towards the technician.
I agree with that.
Because they clearly violated the policy and admitted that they violated the policy.
I agree. So I can make a motion unless someone has any more thoughts. All right, I move to dismiss the pharmacist or the PIC and the permit holder and non-disciplinary 3 hours of CE in error prevention for the pharmacy tech training.
Second,
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Complaint number for item 4I, complaint number 25-0157. The pharmacy dispensed an incorrect medication to a pet. This to me seems like a traditional medication error. I don't think it was deliberate. I would be in favor of 3 hours of med error CE for the tech and the pharmacist and dismissing the permit.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Takes us to item 4J. Complaint
I
number
am recused.
Complaint number 25-0109. A patient received the wrong medication. Open up for some discussion.
I mean, to me, the same like kind of error that we deal with often.
I agree. This could be a look-alike, sound-alike error too.
Yeah.
So this is a very common error in pharmacy.
Mm.
I would be in favor of 3 hours of CE for the tech and the pharmacist and
Yeah.
dismiss the
And
permit.
dismiss permit holder. Yeah, I
Yeah.
say
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Tariq.
yeah. So you want to
Motion carries. Item 4K, I think Ms. Spark is still recused. Complaint 25-0175. A patient was given someone else's prescription.
this is a case of mispackaging, right?
Incorrect bag.
So, yeah, this is mispackaging. So
Well, and the technician I don't think was
Nothing.
involved in this. It was a bagging error by the pharmacist.
yeah,
So I would be in favor of dismissing the technician and the permit.
yeah, and 3 hours CE of error prevention for pharmacists, non-disciplinary. And I make this my motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 4L, complaint number 25-0103. An incorrect medication was dispensed in a correctly labeled container.
Yeah, there is a lot of traffic there in this case, right? Like prescription was filled correctly, no problem. Patients came to the window, has a coupon or pricing issues. Technician tried to help. Printed
What
many labels.
What I couldn't tell is if they followed the company's SOP for relabeling. Because you're right, like there was a lot of stuff happening with this, and I can see how the error happened. But I was unclear if there was any type of SOP in place with the organization, and if so, was it followed or not followed?
Yeah, and the other question, was it a refill? Mr. Wagner, do you remember if it was a refill or new prescription?
No, I'm sorry, I don't recall.
Yeah. I believe it was a new one because
Looking at the record, I believe it is
Yeah.
a new prescription.
Because I wonder after the patient pick up, if the pharmacist cancel the patient, he might catch this. I don't know if the company has a policy for like relabeling.
I don't either, but I just think to
Required,
I just think to
yeah.
myself, if they did and the pharmacist would have looked at the product, obviously it wouldn't have happened. I don't know that it matters greatly, but that was something that I felt like was missing potentially from the response.
Correct, because if they, even they don't have policy, or they do, technician mislabeled it, right? And give the wrong med to
Mm-hmm.
this patient.
Still error prevention, so
Okay.
Yeah.
3 hours to the tech and the pharmacist. Is that what you're thinking, Frank? Is
it is.
that your motion?
It is.
And permit holder?
Yes.
This-
What about them?
No, not sorry. To not take any action against the permit holder.
Okay. All those in favor?
Yeah, I just
Aye.
want to say something before.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before we move, because, you know, I mean, like, I just want to make how much, I mean, is the pharmacist could have done something else to help the situation. I mean, I have a technician in my pharmacy helping patients, printing labels. I mean,
In
and
my opinion, the pharmacist should have looked at it to validate that it was the right leaflet and the right bottle before it was given to the patient. And the technician should have taken it to the pharmacist.
I agree, but from the pharmacist statement, I didn't see pharmacist was aware of. He knew there is like insurance issues or pricing issues, but he wasn't fully aware of what's going on, which is, I know this work under pharmacy supervision, so I see it both sides, right? Like pharmacist should be aware what's going in his pharmacy during operation.
I still feel comfortable with the 3 hours of non-disciplinary CE
Right.
because these types of errors can happen very easily with relabeling. And I think it's important that the pharmacists understand that they still have a responsibility in making sure that they talk to their technicians about, the processes to make sure that the right patient gets the right thing.
Okay. So you asked if all in favor, so aye from me.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Tariq, you're up for 4M.
All right. So we have item number 4M 25-0171. It is the complainant or patient alleged that pharmacy dispensed a medication that looked different and had different directions, resulting in her symptoms reappearing. So this is a case when a new provider prescribed the same medication but with different direction. It is for Celexa, 20 milligram. The new one says half tablet. So everything was dispensed correctly. Everything is correct. And
What's interesting about this one, though, there wasn't a notation of any kind of DUR. I know it was a decrease in dose, but
yeah, I was thinking about this. I believe what's happened because the strength of the medication is the same, right? And then if you don't use sort of code, so the system will not identify is a new treatment or not, correct? Or like,
but it was also flagged. Was this one flagged by the?
there's no DUR unless
Oh, it was notated on the leaflet that it was
Okay.
new to therapy and the. Yeah.
So Ram, is that correct?
So what happened is it was dispensed some time back, by the time the complaint came in and we looked for whether it was marked as NTT or not. The district support personnel confirmed that we should have NTT on it, but when you try to reprint it after a while, you don't get the leaflet with NTT marked on it. The system doesn't do it, So at that time, apparently there was NTT marked on the leaflet, but the leaflet says that it's a new prescription, but NTT is the one that triggers the consultation, So new prescription means it was prescribed as a new prescription. That's why it says new prescription. But NTT is what they go by for consultation, So
Okay.
the pharmacy manager and the technician, they were not 100% sure whether it had NTT on it, but the district supervisory support person confirmed that it should have NTT on it. And they missed that one, and consultation also looked like it showed declined. And then patient started using it as prescribed, like half tablet a day, and then she started noticing the symptoms, mood, and such. So she Googled the prescription tablet information. She found out that it is 20 milligram. So she chose to take 1 tablet a day, and then she was doing fine.
So there is no error
Yeah, it's only they missed the consultation,
missing the consultation.
and they didn't tell the patient that there was a dose change. They should have told the patient it was dose change and it's a different product make. So the manufacturer also changed at the same time. So they had 2 opportunities. One is dose change, second one is different manufacturer, and the other one is missing the consultation.
Yeah, but the patient took it as
prescribed
as half tablet, right?
for some time until she began experiencing the symptoms for underdosing. Went back to the full dose. After researching the tablet they dispensed is correct.
So it was dispensed, it was dispensed correctly. It was.
Everything
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the counseling patient, I believe the respondent said they didn't have the NTT, which is to trigger the counseling, but the
Yeah.
They
district
couldn't
manager.
recreate it is what it
Yeah,
It
you are
sounds like.
correct.
Yeah. But the system is set up to do that.
Yes, you are correct.
But we don't have like evidence like to confirm there's an NTT at the time, right? I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
Yeah, the
So,
system can't reproduce it at this time after a certain duration.
so what I'm thinking, like, it is to me like a letter of concern to both. I mean, that it's dispensed correctly. I'm not sure about the NTT. I mean, I don't have like solid evidence to say like, is it really triggered or not? So to myself, I mean, like nothing, no errors here. And there's no evidence about the NTT. So I'm good with the letter of concern to both pharmacists listed there. Dismiss the technician, the permit holder.
So specifically the letter of concern around consultation.
Around consultation, yes. And dismiss the permit holder and the technician.
I agree.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Okay, item 4N, complaint number 25-0151. A complainant alleged that the pharmacy dispensed a medication that was under a manufacturer recall.
Yeah, this one is like I kept reading it again and again and again, and just I like to hear from Mr. Wagner. If just give us like short summary, like what's happened there.
Well, I'll try a short summary. Essentially, this product was the subject of a voluntary recall. The product was dispensed to the patient on 2/17. the recall notice was sent by email on 2/19 by their wholesaler. However, the email went to the spam folder of the president of this particular pharmacy, so it was never opened. The pharmacy received another notification from a trade group, believe the first part of or middle of March, so approximately a month later. The patient was infused the product, did experience a reaction, had a visit to the emergency room. The recall notice that was sent by the wholesaler did state that it should have gone to the user level, and that is on page 750 of your packet on the business reply form. So the pharmacy, had they received the notice on 2/19, would have still been required to notify the patient that was dispensed that particular lot. And the product, I don't have in front of me when it was actually infused, but it was not infused on the date it was dispensed. So they likely would not have received the product had everything fallen in line. But the issue here is the recall notice was sent. It was received by the pharmacy, but their email system sent it to the spam folder.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like it was a timing issue and a communication issue, and that was my question is, so thank you for summarizing that. Is what would this pharmacy's procedure be, or what were they required to do to notify the patient, even if timing was off, and the communication didn't get to where it needed to go in a timely manner, there still would have been some sort of follow-up to the patient in that it didn't occur. And it was the patient notifying the pharmacy.
Yeah.
What I was a little bit unclear on was, like, is this their typical protocol that their recalls go to their
Email?
CEO,
Yeah.
their CEO's email, and like it hit a spam folder and all of these different things? Like, to me, that seems like maybe a little bit too high of a person in the process. And like, do we need to talk to them about their overall process, or was this just a one-off? But I don't understand what their typical process is for addressing recalls of this nature. So I was kind of the opinion that maybe we should have a conference just to see if we can't learn more about their process for addressing recalls just in general, to see if this is a one-off before making a decision, or if there is or if there's some sort of deficiency in their process, because it does not make sense to me for this to go to a CEO.
Well, that was where I was going with it, is what is their protocol? What is their process for recalls? And I would be okay with hearing a bit more about that.
Yeah, I agree with that. What if that person is on long leave, right? Like PTO, so nobody will receive this recall. Yeah, I agree with you.
How does that normally handled? I mean, it just seems very strange too that it would go at that level. I can see where it could accidentally happen, but it just doesn't seem right somehow.
I mean, recalls happen all the time. Some of them are more significant than others. But you're right. Like, is this person going to work 24/7? I don't know. There's just a lot of holes to me in the process. So I'll make a motion for a conference.
I second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 4O. Complaint number 25-0033, an incorrect medication was dispensed.
And this is the one reported by Data Bank, right? Yeah. I know it is like, you know, I would just look at it as an error, medication error happened, you know, so. I mean, I'm okay with non-disciplinary 3 hour CE of error prevention for a pharmacist.
Is that your motion?
That's my motion, yeah.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 4P, complaint 25-0148. An inappropriate dosage delivery device was dispensed. That was a little bit of a tongue twister there.
So this is, I believe, so the pharmacist spoke with the vet, right, with the provider, and they agreed to the dose, and the dose that agreed to it, it just happens the device doesn't work with the animals, right? And the owner tried to return it back, and the pharmacist did not return it back.
I mean, I question like the pharmacist's kind of common sense in this one. Like it's pretty clear that a cat is not going to be able to use a discus inhaler. I mean, getting a cat to use a regular inhaler is going to be a big enough challenge as it is. But you know, with the way a discus inhaler works, I mean, it to me is common sense. It was clear in the patient's profile that the patient was a feline. I don't know.
so that's exactly what I noted, is my biggest question is, even when they were talking to the vet, the line of questioning back to the vet was, don't you mean this? And, you know, talk about it. I would just expect that the pharmacist would have the product knowledge of how are you going to be able to use that.
Right. And
So,
I don't think a veterinarian probably would even know that, right? I think the
Correct.
No,
pharmacist
no,
led
no.
the veterinarian to that conclusion when it made literally no sense.
yeah. Agreed.
But is that an error? That's the question. Like, you know, they dispense the device is cannot be used, right? But there is no dosing error, there's no direction or like labeling or patient's error.
I mean, technically, no, I guess not, since the prescriber agreed to the recommendation or
That's
the
what I'm trying to see
question.
that the doctor.
But I mean,
Common sense error.
yeah,
Correct.
I-
There is a common sense, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, would it be appropriate to recommend non-disciplinary CE and veterinary CE if there is that available?
I mean, I'm fine with CE, but I just think this is, I don't know,
I mean,
sloppy
I-
pharmacy, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, like they should pay more attention, talk to the owner, owner aware how to use the device, and then they can make decision before they dispense it, right? And this.
I mean, if you counseled the owner and you said the cat is supposed to like inhale this, like it
They owner
makes
will
no
say, no,
sense.
I cannot
I
do it.
it makes no sense.
Correct. So I'll be like, I'll be okay with a letter of concern to the pharmacist. That's what I'm going to, but
It seems like that's about the only thing. The
Yeah.
letter of concern.
I'd be okay with that.
so I make my motion letter of concern,
Second.
pharmacist, and dismiss permit holder. Yeah.
Second.
Jean's gonna ask, what is the basis for the letter of concern?
It's,
I can read Jean's mind at this point.
okay, because I'm not providing accurate information to the patient. Or like, because it says counseling was documented as being provided, but I don't.
But I can't believe that quality consultation was actually delivered, because if you delivered quality consultation on how to use this device,
Here it is,
I mean, yes, you might have checked the box, but did you really?
Counsel the patient, yeah. Or
I was
the-
just thinking that too, the consultation.
So that's based on the quality of counseling. That's a reason.
I don't know. I think it's probably R 423, 402, inappropriate DUR review, something to that effect, because a DUR with a feline should have made the pharmacist think about this. So letter of concern for failure to completely perform DUR. That good, Gene? Okay. Permit holder, what do we want to do?
Dismiss. I just included in my, yeah, I included in my.
So letter of concern for the pharmacist for insufficient DUR.
Insufficient
dismiss-
DUR, yeah, and dismiss the permit holder.
And I'm still fine with my second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 4Q, the staff has requested that we table this one, so we'll move on beyond that one. We'll go to 4R. Complaint number 25-0116. The licensee may have failed to report charges within 10 working days and failed to disclose a 2019 criminal charge on his 2020 license renewal application and failed to update his contact information as required.
So we have a standard fine for this, $250, right, for failed to report. What is the fine? I just forgot the fine for not updating address.
I think it's
Is it
$50.
$50?
Is that right, Steph?
Looking it up
Yes.
right now.
I was
Yeah.
looking forward to. Failure to update contact information within 10 days is $50.
$50, yeah.
Okay, so this is my motion. 250 for failed to report criminal charge, in addition to $50 fine for not updating personal information.
Second.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Aye. Tariq?
All right. I no.
I mean,
I'm in the
you
motion.
need to vote.
I. Sorry.
Motion carries. Item 4S, complaint number 25-0087. A registrant may have failed to report a charge within 10 working days.
So I always bring this one up, like when I see like shoplifting or theft, it's always like get me more like have a concern about those kind of charges. But I don't know we can't gain anything from talking to the person.
I agree. I think let's do the customary $250
Okay.
non-disciplinary civil penalty.
Okay. I second. I mean, is that your motion?
Yes.
Okay, I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Item 4T, complaint number 25-0041. The pharmacy staff was using personal passwords inappropriately.
Yeah, to me, it's like he said, she said, and then the whole staff and the pharmacy, they all confirmed that never happened. So I'm okay, and I'm in favor of dismiss the case. And this is my motion unless anyone has any.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing motion carries. Item 4U, complaint number 24-0689. The complainant stated her atomoxine, I can't talk, and duloxetine pills were placed in the wrong bottles.
I don't know if I'm wrong. I mean, everything seems okay to me. There is no error here. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I saw that it was unsubstantiated.
Yeah. So I move to dismiss.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Item 4V, 25-0166. Filling and dispensing of medications without the pharmacist's final verification by the technician.
So again, the same thing with kind of the same for the labeling issue on the other case. But with this,
I think this was clear violation, though. To me, this was,
oh, there's no pharmacist. Yeah, okay. So the director reported the pharmacist, the technician. Yeah, sorry, I misunderstood. Okay. So it is a clear violation. And
I was leaning towards some sort of discipline on this one for unlicensed activity, or yeah, non-licensed activity.
Would the pharmacist not bear some responsibility for lack of supervision?
They're not named in the
I
complaint.
know that's my concern. Do we need to table it and name the pharmacist?
the pharmacist reported this activity when they became aware of, right?
Mhm.
This is
would it be-
Nancy Chang. May
Yeah,
I
go ahead,
add,
Nancy.
in terms of what happened, we received this complaint from the permit holder when the permit holder terminate the staff.
So the technician was terminated.
Yes, because
Okay.
of,
Did we
Is
hear
that-
from the pharmacist?
we received this from the, well, the report was from the pharmacist to their manager, and then the permit holder decided to term the staff and the technician, and then report that to the board. And that's when the case get opened to.
I'm fine with not including the pharmacist here. The pharmacist, I feel like, did their diligence in this as soon as they found out the person was terminated and reported. So I'm fine with just taking action on the tech.
I am too, and I think that's very appropriate.
So the motion. So it is a clear violation. It may cause a harm, you know what I mean, or error. And I move to 3-hour disciplinary for a technician and in the law. So
Jeff,
this-
have we done probation for something like this before? We've had other cases similar to this one for what we've done.
I don't recall like a case. So are you thinking like non-disciplinary?
No, I'm thinking definitely disciplinary. I just don't know if we've done probation is where my other thing was.
No, I don't recall, but I know we have been more aggressive when when the pharmacist doesn't verify it was dispensed.
I'm good with, let's leave it at 3 hours of disciplinary and we can see what everybody else thinks. If that's your motion, Tariq.
This is my motion and 3-hour CE in law. Yeah.
I second that motion. I think it's, I just wanted to say that I think that I understand what you're saying about more, but if the person is, this is, I think would be significant enough if somebody has any, I don't know, what I'm trying to say is, I think this would, it seems like it should have significant impact on somebody without taking it to the next level.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. And Tariq, I'll give it back to you for the last item.
So item 4W 250031. It's a patient received the incorrect strength of medication. So to me, just like a normal error.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with it. Dismiss the permit holder and do 3 hours of CE prevention error. for the pharmacist.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, we're done.
I think so. Staff, is there anything we missed or need to go back to?
I don't think so. I think we're good.
All right.
Just to confirm, Laura, you're still virtual next week, right?
I am.
Okay.
And I will be late the first day. I'll text you about when I think I'll be able to be on, but I'll probably be shortly before lunch or right after lunch.
Sounds good. And is that Chicago time or is that our time here?
Your time.
All right, perfect.
We'll see you
All
all next
right.
week.
We will adjourn for today and see everybody next week. Take care, guys. Thank you.
Take care.